My name is Chase Johnson. I'm from Denver, Colorado, and we have used C3 Group several times on some of our large loss commercials and our higher end residential for their appraisal services and their public adjusting services. Their knowledge of the market, of the ever-changing regulations, and their ability to create a very thorough estimate from an understanding of construction and the management of the project.
Am I on now? Yeah, I'm on now. Yeah, the sound was muted for some reason. Yep. Okay. Okay, I'm up. Sorry about that, guys. I thought I had sound on there, and apparently it didn't. So, for some reason it muted. It's okay. All the stuff that I said before wasn't anything too crazy. We can kind of recap what's going on. I'm sorry about that. For some reason, microphone decided they want to be hot. So anyway, and I see all your comments now. Of course, the comments were turned off, so I didn't see it either. So that was my mistake. I was getting a little too much prepared. So from what I had said before, basically, we're going to really focus much more on the tropical weather for today, where you have two hail risks that we're talking about, but we're going to really kind of zero in on the risk for hail, for the hurricane across Florida. So we're going to get into that. But so we got 2%, we got up to 2-inch hail here possible across, I think someone said in the middle of nowhere for hail, because I saw the comments catching up. Yeah, pretty much in the middle of nowhere here in northwestern Kansas. Storms will go up this evening around dinner time, likely have up to big hail right away, and then kind of turn into more wind and heavy rain. If you're in Oklahoma, probably kind of like what Oklahoma City had, except in the middle of nowhere. Also, some chances for hail all the way up towards Michigan. Got 2% chance here for Chicago, where some of the models aren't even really showing anything across the Chicago area, and 5% for Kansas City. That's going to be later this evening into the overnight hours after about 10 p.m. And that'll just show you the models here. Now move through, you see storms aren't going to form until a lot later this afternoon. It's after about 5 o'clock. Move through the area. You see back by Kansas City, storms moving through. This is after midnight. That's your best chance for hail. Again, I think it's going to be much more wind and rain. I know, more downer news for the Kansas City area, but alas, that's usually what happens. We could see some other storms if they stay isolated enough in Kansas to keep going. So here we go. This is over by the Chicago area. You see a couple isolated storms in central Illinois, but for the most part, pretty quiet today. So it's a big, broad risk. However, I don't think there is going to be too much in the way of really big hail. Again, up in upper sections of the mitten of Michigan, we could see some storms as well. So tomorrow's forecast, which I realize I don't have any animations for, we have, looks like Denver returns to the risk. I feel like the Front Range might want to remind us that we're still having hail, even knowing the hurricane's starting to take all of our attention. Could be some pretty big hail with this, up to golf ball size hail, anything that forms in the afternoon along that Front Range. And there is a chance that we could see some marginally severe hail, possibly in the morning hours of Friday across Oklahoma. But I think it's going to be much more gusty winds and strong rain, or heavy rain across a good chunk of Oklahoma. Again, maybe only up to about quarter-size hail, likely more towards the morning. And here in Colorado, it's going to be after about 5 o'clock or so. So you see at the beginning of the run, all that activity that's going to be by Kansas City will push through, and then we see much bigger storms forming again after about 4 or 5 o'clock local time up in the Front Range. We'll be watching this super carefully, see if anything really bubbles up. Of course, we'll go live if anything happens. I believe we aren't leaving to go chase Hurricane Dorian until possibly Saturday. We got a lot of details to iron out. We're going to talk about that in just a second here. So tropical check-in is going to pretty much be the majority of the video here. Hurricane Dorian, this is the most recent update. Yes, it's 9 a.m. Central Time because they take this Atlantic time, which, or I think it's either Atlantic Standard, whatever it is. Either way, 85 mile per hour winds. You can see the tiny little eye here. There was some dry air that went through in the middle of the night, kind of kept Dorian from exploding. It kind of kept it just staying steady, but I can tell you right now we have an eye wall replacement cycle ongoing. So basically the initial eye wall is expanding out. We got a new stronger one coming in as the storm strengthens, and it'll continue to move to the north and to the west, eventually towards Florida. So this is what the National Hurricane Center put out most recently. So they had, as of 11 a.m. Atlantic Standard Time, 85 mile per hour winds. It's moving about 13 miles an hour and is going to work its way towards Florida. So by 8 a.m. on Labor Day, we have a major hurricane, and the National Hurricane Center believes that we'll have a Category 4 major hurricane as it hits somewhere in central parts of Florida, though I really think anywhere in the Florida Peninsula. If you're on the east coast of Florida, there's a chance it's going to hit you. So see, somebody just asked, can you predict what it's going to do once it goes into the Gulf? We're going to talk about that a little bit here. So basically, National Hurricane Center, they think it's going to be about 130 to 135 miles per hour wind speed as Category 4 hurricane at landfall. This particular deadline, center line there has it going towards Vero Beach, but as if you've been paying any attention, this has been shifting wildly, and I'll show you that in the models as well. So why is there such a spread? It really comes down to right here. We have this big high pressure that's going to be building in off of the coast of the United States, and how strong it's going to be is really going to kind of determine where it's going to go. So this is one possible option. This is the one that a lot of models have been favoring, where it pushes Dorian to only go basically the southern half of Florida, if anywhere from Orlando points south. So that is where the likely landfall location would be. That's a scenario that seemed a lot of the models have been favoring recently. However, models have also been favoring this, where it's not strong, maybe a little further north, a little further east, just some minor changes in basically a steering pattern for this thing, and suddenly Dorian is able to just rock right into the northern half of the east coast of Florida. And then somebody asking about it going to Gulf. When it goes to the more southern track, it is possible, yeah, it pops out the other side and then comes up. It's also possible that it goes through and then goes right up the peninsula, and then at that point you are getting horrible flooding unless a second landfall. So with that, I'm actually going to go into the models a little bit more. We're going to look at each and every single one that I have available. Again, there's a lot of data coming in, and we're still enough days out where things have been kind of changing. Like every single run, even each different model has a different take on what we're looking at here. So just try to give you guys a better idea of what to expect. So I'm going to start off with the American model, the GFS, as some people might know. If not, this is the main American model. This is the most recent run that came in. It finished right before I started the video. So let's just go ahead and take a look at this guy here. And it should be bringing, there it is, whoops. It'll be bringing in, it'll be going a little slow just because there's a ton of people on this website right now. But you can see it coming in, strengthening, and then somebody say it feels like we've been 5 days out for a week now. Well, it's going to slow down as well. So before we had it kind of rocking across Florida, now it has it, instead of making landfall Saturday night, we're closing in. This would be on Sunday evening at about 8 p.m. We have a very strong hurricane off the coast, and then this one has it come in. Look how much it slows down there. These are 6-hour intervals. It takes to Monday evening to go from, let me roll that back again here, to go from just barely off the coast of Florida to making landfall. By Monday evening, it makes landfall kind of close to Vero Beach, just south, somewhere between Cape Canaveral and north of West Palm Beach, making landfall. It's a strong hurricane, it's a major hurricane, and then it will, this particular run has it, goes up the spine of Florida essentially. So it would weaken significantly. You wouldn't be worried about hurricane force winds by the time you get up towards Jacksonville. Orlando, though, you'll probably see some hurricane force gusts. But more importantly, a ton of rain. It'd be kind of a nightmare for us chasing this thing to try to, you only got one way to get out of Florida and you gotta go north. So if we're riding with it, it's gonna be a lot of flooding rain, and then this run has it kind of do its own thing, hang out, die more or less, and then try to go off the coast and re-strengthen, but we're pretty far out at that point. So that's one particular model we are looking at. We can see some of the ensembles. This is Spaghetti Models. Just a plug for them. Their website is a great website that has all of the tropical stuff that you want to see all kind of grouped together here. So I'll look at one set of ensembles. So Spaghetti Models, basically you have the main model run. So what we looked at is what we call the operational model. It's on what to expect, like the high pressure is a little stronger, a little further east, a little weaker, whatever it may be. So it kind of gives you a whole variety of options here. So the operational one is the one that they choose is this is the best, most likely scenario, but when you look at the ensembles, then you can kind of get a better idea of what the overall spread is, so you can get that cone of uncertainty. And the most recent grouping of models here really kind of focuses in on this part of Florida, probably south of Jacksonville and north of Miami. We do have a model. Hopefully I can find it to show you guys where it actually does impact Miami, so I wouldn't breathe a sigh of relief in Miami. But it shows it all coming up and moving in, and more importantly, slowing down at landfall. We've had this issue happen a few hurricanes now. Harvey did this, Florence did this, Michael didn't really do this, but like Florence and Harvey both, they slowed at the coast, and they were able to ravage that coastline and give a ton of rain, which unfortunately, in addition to all the crazy wind, that really makes it kind of a nightmare scenario. So really starting to trend more on impacting. However, there are some models that want to try to avoid the coast. I'm not on that camp quite yet. I really think that's the least likely scenario, is we get a graze or kind of goes out to sea and curves, or goes out to sea, misses Florida, and then hits the Carolinas. In that case, we got to drive a ton to reposition. But it really start looking like we're probably going to go into Florida the way just all the upper air dynamics are in place. It really looks like we're going to be nowhere to go but west, from east to west. So I think a landfall is likely going to be happening somewhere in Florida. Narrowing that down is going to be the hard part here. So show you some of the other ensembles. This is all the hurricane models. The most recent run, we have this one guy who just says, I don't care what you think. The one outlier that goes all the way up to North Carolina, I'd probably rule this one out. But overall, I think what we're starting to see a change from is, instead of it pushing the 50 miles or so across Florida and back into the Gulf to then put at risk places like Pensacola or Mobile, Alabama, it's now looking like we're going to see the slowdown and the curve happen on land. So it's unfortunate the Florida Peninsula. However, it is kind of a blessing in disguise for quite a few people, especially if you're in like Panama City or Panama City Beach, that you got ravaged by Michael last year, and you don't want to see another hurricane right now. So that is starting to look more likely we see the curve. Now, again, my new question is this curve gonna kind of stay like this or make a 50-mile shift? So you're not making landfall. Florida's not super big, and we have that area of uncertainty of 100, 200 miles, that can make the difference between a horrible impact to it rains, but it's off the coast. So that's what one group of models here we're showing. Let's see. Can look at, that's what the Canadian model had. Again, kind of a widespread, but we're starting to narrow that down. So I'm starting to see more potential for across Florida. And here is the intensity guide. This is the one that has really changed drastically in the past 24 hours. 24 hours ago, you had a couple models going, yeah, we could see a major hurricane. And now it's pretty universal. We're seeing a Cat 3, some up to that Cat 4. I know there was one hurricane model yesterday that was going balls to the wall and wanted to do a Category 5. Climatology-wise, so just how often these happen, we've had our Cat 5 last year. The chances of another Cat 5 this close are quite low. Cat 5 is very low chance to begin with. I don't think we'll see something that insane. Low-end Category 4? Sure, yeah. I mean, that's what the National Hurricane Center is even thinking. Could this thing rapidly intensify in the next 24 hours and it is a Cat 5 out in the Atlantic? It's very possible. Do I think that it'll be that strong when it makes landfall in Florida? I do not think so. I think it'll probably be a major hurricane, which by all means is life-threatening and very dangerous, but I don't think it'll be that crazy. When will it hit? I think Labor Day, where the eye makes landfall, will be on Labor Day. But that can be a little deceiving. Here is the, I don't want hurricane force winds, I want tropical. There we go. Tropical storm force winds can be coming. Yeah, I know, Joe Rosa. It says, there's a little less formal weather forecast now. I can say stuff like that. So this has hurricane force winds at the earliest coming in. So tropical storm force winds. The National Hurricane Center thinks we could have tropical storm force winds arriving in southern coastal eastern Florida as early as Sunday afternoon. So it's Sunday at 8 a.m. We have off the coast, so somewhere between 8 a.m., probably noontime. By lunchtime on Sunday, you could get up to tropical storm force winds already, and then we could have up to hurricane force winds possibly as early as Sunday afternoon. So again, just because the center of the system won't make landfall till Labor Day, we could start seeing those more damaging winds by Sunday afternoon. So if you live in Florida, have your preparations done, I'd say Saturday. You got probably most of the day Saturday where it's going to be nice out and you can really get your stuff in order here so you know what's going to be going on. So again, I'll show you guys, let's see, what else can I show you here? I'll show you one of the hurricane models. How about that? Dang. Okay. I don't want the 60 run. I want the most recent run. Hang on, let's load this up, guys. We can show you. This is one of the more reliable hurricane models. Where am I located on this? It's not out. Dang, it's not out far enough yet. Never mind, guys. Never mind. Well, either way. What else can I show you? I'll bring up the track again. So again, this is what we're seeing by 8 a.m. Monday. So landfall Monday morning somewhere along the east coast of Florida. Now, again, if you're on the east coast of Florida, so if you're anywhere from Miami up to Jacksonville, you need to be watching this super carefully. I would do your basic hurricane preparations, get the water. I saw on the news already, there were tons of water and everything already bought, but we don't exactly, it's just what I was trying to show you here. I'm starting to kind of zero in on central eastern Florida. However, it could very easily change by this afternoon and this evening. We get another group of models. The European model, which is known for being probably one of the more reliable ones, isn't quite out yet while I'm doing this video. There could be a major change on that. Could change everything, so I would prepare now. Yeah, yes, prepare now. Bread and beer will be gone by Saturday. Yes, chances are you just go to your store, get your basic preparations. You need water, non-perishable foods, get alcohol if you're gonna have a little hurricane party. I know Florida, just like Oklahoma with tornadoes, Florida, you're well versed in the hurricanes, so just be prepared. Be watching the news, which I'm sure you will. I'm sure this is everywhere now, as is looking like to be a major hurricane. Pretty simple here. The landfall is changing constantly. Fine details have been ironed out, so don't freak out. I wouldn't evacuate yet. So if you live in East Coast Florida, get your hurricane preparations done. Be done by Saturday, and if you have to evacuate, chances are you probably know in Florida, if you live in Florida and you've been there a while, you know if you're in a mandatory evacuation zone for a hurricane, on those little islands, or you got the water right by your house, you got a boat in your backyard, chances are you might have to evacuate. So I wouldn't ignore any mandatory evacuations. Yes, we are going to be chasing this hurricane. We're going to be on the way down there. Again, sometime between late tomorrow and Saturday, we'll figure that out. We'll be out there, but we know what we're doing. We're not staying in somebody's house right on the water, so just, I would not ignore those evacuation orders. I would definitely evacuate if mandatory evacuations ordered, but I wouldn't necessarily evacuate unless you absolutely have to. I think it is a right now, fairly compact storm. I know it is beginning to widen, so I know it's about 500 miles across or something right now, so you will feel effects even if you're not where the eye wall is, where the strongest portion of the hurricane's at. But just be there, be prepared. I know all the folks watching me who are primarily in the roofing industry. I think a bunch of you guys like to chase these things. You can kind of, set up shop, like wait it out in Georgia, wait for the storm to pass, and you can come in after it's done, and you don't have to worry about anything too crazy. But hey, if you want to go chase it, you want to set up shop wherever it's going to make landfall, so you can get out there next morning. Chances are you've probably done it before. You guys know what to do. So we'll be updating this, of course, tomorrow. We'll be doing posts on Facebook probably later today when we get another update in. National Hurricane Center does an update every 4 or 5 hours. When the new track comes out, we will do updates. We might do our own graphics too, depending on amount of available time we have while we're getting ready to go chase. We'll be doing videos on our journey out there. While we're out there, of course, we'll try to do as much live coverage as humanly possible with Hurricane Dorian, especially if he becomes a major hurricane, and we're trying really hard to get right into that eye so we can get that cool stadium effect if it's a nice clear eye and everything. Give us a call, 855-334-4245 with any comments, questions, or concerns you may have. You got to set up a training, you need interested in what Hailtrace has to offer, all that great stuff. You can call us, email us, visit our website. You can always follow us at Hailtrace. We'll go live if any hail happens. Of course, we're still paying attention to the hail. Don't worry, we'll do live coverage if Denver gets hit or something. So we'll be there for that. Otherwise, focus really coming on the hurricane. I'll be here for a video tomorrow unless something drastically changes forecast-wise and we got to book it out of here in the morning or anything. Then you'll probably see me on live coverage via the truck or wherever we set up shop, whatever it is. We'll give you as many updates as we can as this thing occurs over Labor Day weekend. And a lot of you folks are probably going to be out barbecues and everything. Unless, of course, you're a storm chaser for roofing or weather. In that case, you're probably disappointing your family this weekend. So we'll see you guys again tomorrow at 12 p.m. and do those hail dances. Maybe we can get some hail coverage. It'd be cool if we get a big hailstorm right before we go to a hurricane. That's how 2019 seems to be rolling anyway. So we'll see you guys again tomorrow at 12 p.m. Follow our Facebook page. We'll be doing more updates as the day wears on with more updates about Dorian. Have a great day, everybody.